Who wants to welcome us in?
Let's get this thing kicked off. All right. It's been a while, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Hushlife Podcast. We've got the entire crew here today. It's been a little bit. We've been traveling around, touch into some of that. It's, I'd say summer is officially here. It's the 9th of June. Salt Lake has been exceptionally warm. The state of Utah is not looking great from a drought fire perspective. And I want to say I'm seeing similarities across a lot of the West. I saw a stat where Montana got some big issues with snowpack, and they're really concerned about river temperatures for summer fly fishing. And same with even in Oregon, was just already starting to have some fires, and that was like in the end of May. So, not looking awesome on the Western fire front.
It doesn't feel awesome either. It's hot here.
It's a dry heat, Eric.
I know. I'm using my chapstick like 24/7, and I just got back from Hawaii, and it was like 4 days into Hawaii. I was like, I haven't even used chapstick here. It's different.
Always live in the desert. That's why.
So yeah, like Brian said, man, we've all been like all over the place, and that's what's funny about just Hush in general. I mean, at one time, I think we were all out of town. I was in Hawaii with Matt. BMAC was in Oregon. And also went through Idaho and did some fishing, and Casey was on a bear hunt. So it's like we were all just like, peace out. You probably noticed that our channel was pretty slow on YouTube when it comes to uploads, but we got a lot of new content that we've captured and that we're putting together to put out.
Logan was just at Home Depot the whole time.
Yeah, I could have done a home improvement episode for all of you guys, but I didn't think that was quite our demographic.
How's the bathroom coming, Logan?
Yeah, how's the remodel?
It's pretty solid. I'm going to tell you guys the golden rule: if you ever want to remodel your bathroom, don't do it if you only have one bathroom.
Don't do it.
Pretty good rule.
You limit yourself to. I've been spending a lot of time in my parents' shower at the gym, in that shower.
How about the bucket situation in the bathroom, in the garage, though?
So I have a baby boy. He's not quite to the potty training age yet, but he has a potty training seat. We slapped that bad boy on a bucket in our garage, and just really been living off the land.
I had a buddy who was remodeling his bathroom. He was just over at my house yesterday saying that like you can't get a tub. Like so many things are pushed back because of manufacturing and stuff.
It's rough. I'm on the old coat edges of it though. All the tiles in, the shiplap is up, tub is set. Now I just got to do flooring and paint and then set my amenities, and we will be good.
You act like you're almost done. I feel like you're maybe 50% of the way through.
He was telling me this yesterday. He's like, yeah, about got her whipped. He goes, I just got to get the tub in, tile in, the toilet in, and the vanity in. I'm like, what do you have done?
You're still in the demo phase, dude. You're going to be in the garage on that 5-gallon bucket for a while, bud.
No, the tile is the worst. That work is hard. It is hard work to do, but the tile is done. Tub is set. I honestly, flooring, and then I can get my toilet in, and because we could bathe. I'm gonna go out tonight and we could hop in the shower now. So that's big pro.
Speaking of remodels, I think a cool story some of you guys may be familiar with, but Eric, how's the mom and dad's place coming along?
Really good, man. It's like right there. There's carpet to be put in on the stairs, and it's basically done. I mean, it's finished, but for those who didn't see it, I've always wanted to help my parents remodel their place. They've got a house. I think it was built in the early 70s, and we moved in there when I was 12. So I don't know. I don't want to do quick math, but yeah, like 20 something years, and it's never been remodeled whatsoever. My mom, we've always had this little galley kitchen, and it's like literally if a cabinet was swung open, if a fridge door was open, there was like no passage. And somehow she did, we had 4 kids in the house, and she made it through that. And then she's kind of been helping out with the grandkids, and she's made it through that. And now that they're moved out, I'm like, all right, we're going to remodel this place. And we did a lot of tear down, and huge thanks to my buddy Zach for kind of taking the job as like the general contractor. But yeah, new everything, appliances, floor, tore out walls. Like it's just like a whole brand new house. It's really cool. So the reason I wanted to come over right now is because I wanted to get some video with daylight. But I took a bunch of before and after videos, and I'm gonna try to recreate them right now. And I'll just put them side by side with some music so you guys can see just how much this place has transformed. Check this out.
looks really good, man. It's crazy to see like the before and after, like what it was now, what it is now. It's a lot bigger.
Yeah, a lot of the neighbors have kind of like seen all the commotion and the dumpsters and everything, and they're getting curious. But the house used to have an acre of land, and the previous owners subdivided that and they built next door. So the next door neighbors are the previous owners. So her name's Nancy, and they have kids my age, and we were always friends growing up, but they haven't been over to the house for years. And Nancy came over and just about lost her mind. Like, she couldn't believe it either. She couldn't believe it was the same house.
That's really cool of you to do that for, man.
Yeah. It's exciting. I enjoy going over there more. Like, it's weird, it kind of makes it sound weird, but it was cluttered through like the 2 generations that have been through there and the kids that have just completely destroyed the place. But when you go over there now, it's just simple, clean, and modern and new, and it's more enjoyable. And the parents are happy. My mom's.
Yeah, I bet. Turned out awesome, man.
Yeah.
In other news, this was a pretty big week for the Hush brand, for the Hush community. I'm sure most of you that are listening were familiar with this, but we did a thing we've been wanting to do for a really long time. We have always discussed the concept and the idea of taking somebody that follows any of our platforms on an actual elk hunt or any hunt, frankly, and kind of just struggled through what would be the correct way to go about doing it from like a liability standpoint. What do we need to be concerned about? But eventually it led us, after kind of testing the waters with the Can-Am giveaway we did last year, and just like the feedback that we received that folks seemed to like that, we were able to figure out a way to partner with a friend of ours who is an outfitter and a guide, Chris Geikema, who runs Compass West Outfitters, predominantly outfitting down in New Mexico, parts of Colorado, to kind of like leverage his business from the liability side so we could run it through an outfitter, and then we could still, give a hunt away. Called up a lot of our partners, asked if we could make it a little bit more special than just an elk hunt, and compiled a whole host of goodies together. They made like a really sweet $16,000 package. Well, we work with a third-party agency that runs the sweepstakes, and usually once the promo like concludes, it takes them a little bit of time to run all the reporting and eventually pick the winner. So this was a big week. We got to pick, identify, contact the winner. What were you guys' just like thoughts on just like that whole experience and kind of the lead up to getting a hold of the final grand prize winner?
I felt like I was just as excited as all of you guys at home to find out who won. I wanted it, like, as soon as we started it, I wanted it to be over just because I wanted to know who was going to go on a hunt with this. But it's tough because you have a lot of people that are entered in to win, and so the guy's name's Adam out of upstate New York, and we're always hoping it's somebody that we're going to get along with, that we're going to be able to have fun sharing a camp with, obviously. But I think Adam said it perfectly. He made a video on Instagram. If it's possible, Logan, we should plug that in.
How's it going, everyone? I just wanted to kind of make a quick appreciation video. I am the lucky winner of the New Mexico Elk Hunting Experience, and I couldn't be more happy. I'm still shaking. They gave me a call yesterday, kind of played around with me a little bit. I wasn't sure if it was a scam or not. Turns out it's not. So to be able to go to New Mexico is a dream of mine. And when I entered, I had no idea it was actually going to happen. None. I thought these things were a scam, as I've said on my Facebook post. Well, turns out they're not. At least this one's not. I don't know about those car ones and all that stuff, but I am beyond grateful for this. So I just kind of wanted to give a quick shout out to them. Thank you guys so much for providing me with this opportunity. It's huge. I decided I'm going to bring my dad along with me. He's just not going to have a tag, but he was just as excited as I was when I told him. He's kind of taught me everything. Not everything, but he got me into hunting, and he taught me a lot about it. And he's the reason that I'm going on this hunt for many, many reasons. So I just wanted to say thank you. And to anybody who entered into the competition and didn't get drawn, I just want to let you guys know I'm going to treat this hunt with the respect that any of you guys would. With all your luck and support I see on YouTube, congratulating me and everything, it just lit a fire under me. So even more so than it already was. So I'm already out here, and the next day, just going to be as active as I possibly can. Yeah, so I just wanted to throw this video up quick. Just say thank you. And I will definitely be posting a lot more. And definitely when I go on that hunt, hopefully this New Mexico hunt works out. I've got lots of confidence in it, I'll tell you. I looked up the unit. It looks like there's some big elk taken from this area. So pretty excited. I will keep everyone posted.
He said it absolutely perfect. He felt very blessed, very fortunate, obviously, but he felt a lot of pressure because he knew that everybody that entered wanted to win. And so he felt pressure that he was going to start getting in shape, start shooting his gun, that he wanted to be ready for all of you guys at home because, you know, everybody wishes they could be the one winner, but he was the one chosen. So I think we found, you know, out of just luck, Adam was chosen, and I think he's going to be a perfect fit for the hunt. And I think we're going to have a lot of good times with him.
Yeah, same here, man. Like as soon as we started, it was kind of like someone's going to win all this cool stuff. And I always try to put myself in that person's position because I've never like won anything. And it's crazy to think like you can just enter something. And like Adam said, you know, you always wonder if these are gimmicks, if these are real or not. And he's seen that we do follow-up videos, but you always wonder, like, do I really even have a chance? And like Brian said, with the sweepstakes company and everything, we do everything and follow the rules. Like you have a chance. There's no doubt about it. And I always try to imagine, like, what would it be like to get that call? I mean, an elk hunt, you know, travel expenses, all the stuff from our partners and the great gear and stuff that comes with it. Like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to get that call. But he took the call. That video is on our YouTube channel and stuff. But yeah, he's super excited and everything we've done. I just think this goes to show like the community that we built, like everyone we've had a winner of, whether it was off the SMS, like they're so thankful, you know, and we always are like, man, we got lucky. We found another person that's deserving. And it's like, it's because everyone in our community is deserving of these prizes. So super cool. Happy for him and looking forward to the hunt.
A quick side story on what it feels like to win one of these prizes. I actually kind of forgot about this until you just mentioned it, Eric. But so I think it was in 2011 or 12. This is before I knew you guys and really into the hunting forums back in the day, right? So Monster Muleys, Hunt Talk, Ridgeline Outdoors were a couple that I frequented often. And big fan of Randy Newberg on Your Own Adventures back in the day. Like really engaged in his form and stuff. Well, they used to do, you know, outdoor TV was kind of leading the charge. They did like you had the outdoor channel and then the sportsman's channel. And every year that they would host these awards or whatever. I forget the name of the shows, but I think one was
Golden Moose.
Yeah. And Sportsman's Outdoor Choice Awards or something. Well, Randy was on Sportsman's channel and he was asking like his, you know, community to essentially go like get him some votes to try to win one of these awards. And so you go into the Facebook page of the post and like you'd vote for like Randy Newberg, best host or whatever. And the grand prize was a trip to SHOT Show in Las Vegas where they would take you and a guest and provide like a bunch of stuff or whatever. So I didn't think a whole lot about it. Just, I liked Randy, figured I'd try to help him out, gave him a little love for like host of the year, whatever the heck the award was. And lo and behold, down the road, a few months later, I get this email from a random company in like New York City telling me that I'm a grand prize winner of this trip. I'm like, what? This seems like a scam. I think, you know, everybody kind of goes in their head like, this is not real. I reached out to Randy through a direct message on his hunting platform. I'm like, do you think this is legitimate? And he did a little research on it. He was like, I did. I think it is actually. And so it was just this like super irony. Obviously, I didn't know Randy. I was just a participating person in his community, but he was so thrilled about the fact that a Western hunter won it. because, most of the audience for Outdoor Channel and stuff is back east. So we set up a time to win. So I got round trip airfare to Vegas, got put up in a suite in the Palazzo, got like $500 cash, tickets to the SHOT Show, and then tickets to the Sportsman's Outdoor Choice Awards. And Randy was so fired up that he had a couple buddies. His son Matthew was there, and we arranged to kind of like meet up and connect at the Sportsman's Outdoor Choice Awards. I took my buddy Cody Lujan back in the day, and that was how I met Randy, which then we met like the guys at Meat Eater at that thing, and the guys at like RMEF, like Brandon Bates was the host of the whatever that show was. And so kind of an ironic way to meet Randy, because we ended up like having history with him shortly thereafter. But that was how I got introduced. So I can kind of relate to like the surprise. Mine was through an email, so it wasn't as dramatic as a phone call. But I think your initial reaction is certainly, this is not real. I'm being scammed.
Red flag.
Red flag.
All we need is your routing number and bank.
Yeah.
Get the trip. You guys ever won anything? Logan, Matt, Casey?
I won a New Mexico elk tag just recently.
I don't think we've told the audience that.
We have not told anyone that yet.
So everybody that was freaking voting that they wanted Logan to have the tag somehow presented you with a lot of karma in the draw.
And not only that, it was my first time ever putting in for New Mexico. I've never had an elk tag before, and non-resident applicants were up 60,000%.
Well, wait, what?
Isn't that what you told me?
60,000%?
Or not, maybe not percent. 60,000 more individuals.
Logan definitely was a math major.
I think it was like, Guycom just told me, I think he said it was like 30,000 applicants, non-resident applicants. Was up.
We mentioned this in a podcast where we're like, we were all lucky enough.
Yeah.
To draw a New Mexico elk tag the first year we applied, and we were like, dude, you're going to draw. This is your first year, and now you have. So it's like all of us except old Matt have been in.
Year, Matt, New Mexico.
I've applied for like 4 years and never drawn.
Oh, dude, it's such a cooler story because first 2 years Brian ever applied for New Mexico, he drew. First 2 years I ever drew or applied for New Mexico, I drew. First year Eric ever applied, he drew. First year Logan applied, he drew. And I haven't drawn since. Brian hasn't drawn since. Eric hasn't drawn since. You're the anomaly, Matt.
Maybe you're just not living right.
Maybe you're not living a clean life.
One time I like caught a Hush hat from like the Hush movie night when you guys were throwing them out. So that was cool.
You still have it?
I had to fight like the lady in front of me, but I ended up with it.
So Matt did a double leg takedown of her and stole the hat.
Here's a funny something we won. So we went to a mule deer banquet a few years ago. I took my son Gage, and I bought him like $100 worth of raffle tickets because they're raffling out like, or drawing like some pretty cool hunts, So I was like, dude, go spread your tickets out through all those hunts, and we'll have a good chance to win them. And this was being held in Logan, which is like an hour away from the house. So he went and put his tickets and everything, and they started drawing names. And it was a basketball hoop. He, for whatever reason, put one ticket in a basketball hoop, fully erected basketball hoop, and he won it. And it caused me to have to stay the night in Logan, wake up the next morning, go buy tools to take this dumb thing apart, put it in the back of the truck, and drive it home. And then somehow in the process of all that, I lost like 2 pieces to the basketball hoop. And so I ended up having to take it to the dump and throw it away years later. That's the one thing we've ever won.
That sounds exactly like what would happen.
What do you mean, Brian?
Just missing a couple key pieces to get this.
Oh, there was like one rod, and I tried to get him on the phone to send me the one rod, and it like took hours. So I finally said, you don't need a basketball hoop. And that's why my son doesn't play basketball now.
Hey, he's a lacrosse net.
That's why he plays lacrosse.
You've had a couple rough goes at those. Didn't you win a muzzleloader at one and then never got that either?
Yeah, I won a muzzleloader at the sheep giveaway at the expo, and I was so dumb. He's like, you can just stay here and fill out your background thing, and then we can give it to you, or we'll just ship it. I'm like, yeah, man, we got a booth. I'm not gonna stick around for that. Like, just send it to me, never to be seen again.
Really?
Yeah.
Never got it.
It was like a super rad muzzleloader, like a $1,200 muzzleloader, like a long range shooting one.
I'd have been like, where's my muzzleloader?
I called the guy numerous times. He just ghosted me.
Yeah, those giveaways they're always interesting. I know it's funny that your mind goes right to scam. It's getting worse now. I think we mentioned it a few times on videos, but old Facebook has a real headache these days with the fake impersonating accounts. And here's what's annoying. Somebody will make an account that looks similar to like our profile picture, maybe even a couple of recent posts. And it'll have like a similar name, like Hushin Live or some dumb thing. Mm-hmm. And then they send out friend requests to so many of our current friends, followers, however you want to phrase it. And then there's the hook is they're like trying to leverage whatever giveaway we may have going on at the time, stating that, you know, you've just won blah, blah, blah. And it's never typically the same prize, but it is something that seems like, wow, is this real? So we get a pile of emails and messages letting us know that this happens. The frustrating part is you can go spend so much time reporting it to Facebook and not a single thing happens. One of the annoyances that I have is you can't, like, if I go report it, it says, well, who are they impersonating? And your options are some like celebrities or whatever. So you type in our business page and nothing appears. Or you type in an individual's page, nothing appears because we don't fall in any of those categories. So there's no way to like tell people that they're impersonating this business page of Hush. So on the reporting side, Facebook then gets back to you and they say, no community violations have been met. It's like, what do you even, how is this possible? We were talking about Randy earlier. His whole Facebook page got hijacked for 2 months.
Did he ever end up getting that back?
Yeah, it took Randy will mess around. He got a lot of connections and somehow he got a hold of a high executive at Facebook through some mutual acquaintances. He finally got access back, but for like a very extended period of time, he had no control of his account and he had all the authentications, 2-factor, everything was totally dialed. Very bizarre situation where he had nothing and nobody would help him. Nobody knew what was going on. So a huge annoyance. And again, we apologize if you've been contacted through these scam pages. Mm-hmm. There's nothing we can do. There's literally, our hands are completely tied. It's so frustrating. And it seems to happen legitimately on a weekly basis.
Yep. I'm always getting DMs, man. And that even goes on to my personal account. People are like, is this you? Like, hey, did you start, like a giveaway page? Like same avatar picture. Yep. Looks the same. And it's like, no, please report that. I tell everyone to please report them. So if it's coming from any of our personal accounts or a Hush fake lookalike, like we do not send out messages like, asking for you to, answer any questions or DMs or anything suspicious. If it's not our real page or if it looks something funny, it most likely is. It is. Like,
we're just never going to contact anybody that won anything via social media. We're going to call them on the phone. Can't get a hold of you, then we're going to send you a text. And those are the only 2 ways we're going to reach out.
Yeah.
But it's super annoying. And I mean, I don't know. Times are a little different these days with big technology. We've seen it on Facebook, obviously, this kind of stuff, other stuff, whether it's Twitter, the YouTube terms and conditions just recently changed as of June 1st, which, Eric, remind us what you were reading with regards to animals or whatever, because this is an interesting thing that we have no idea how this will play out.
Excuse me for like 5 seconds. I got to get a drink of water.
Casey and I are both fighting little colds.
Thirsty guy, dude. I came prepared.
Yeah. So what are these terms and conditions that you saw or heard or whatever? Because I haven't dug into them a lot yet.
It's funny that, we try to stay on top of this stuff as much as we can, but like Brian said, they're just constantly changing. And someone had sent me this in a DM. He was worried. He said, Eric, concerned that some of the new guidelines may affect your Hush channel And I said, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. I've been in the woods for like a week straight shed hunting. And this was an update, community guidelines on YouTube. And I'll just read it. It says June 2021, upcoming changes to animal abuse policy. On the 15th of June, we are updating our animal abuse policy. This means that content in which someone deliberately inflicts physical suffering or harm to animals is not allowed on YouTube. That's pretty broad. I mean, hunting, you would think, well, clearly, like, I mean, I wouldn't say deliberately for physical suffering, but harm. I mean, how can you say that like killing them is not included?
Yeah, it's a gray area, and we've experienced it before.
Yeah.
So, for anybody that isn't necessarily familiar, on the back end of YouTube, when we upload a video, there's a lot of different factors that go into getting that uploaded. Sometimes it'll get flagged for what's considered like copyright, so the music or something, even though oftentimes we've purchased the music through a site that allows you to use it, it'll still flag it. So then creates more effort on our end because we got to go provide a PDF of the license of the music, and we have to contest it. And this is all done by automation. So the initial round is completely automated, and who knows why the heck certain things get flagged. A lot of these videos we posted up, we had the free music, everything's totally legit. Nothing's wrong with it for years. And then just out of the blue, something will get flagged for a copyright that the video has been up for 4 years. So a lot of times too, like these free music sites, the ebbs and flows of what music they have in their library that's free change. And so we've experienced it where videos we were completely good on 3 years ago are now flagged for a copyright, and we have no way to get the license anymore. And so we just like, whatever, like we don't have an opportunity to, make any kind of money on that particular video, which it is what it is. But then there's other components too, where it's largely left up to the interpretation of whoever is reviewing the video. So we'll see it at times, whether it's something being butchered in the field, like just basic stuff. This isn't like gory graphic. This is educational. This is real. It's just like what we do as hunters. It'll get flagged for sensitive content. And then we have to request a manual review. Sometimes all is good. The videos come back and green means go. But a lot of times it'll come back and it'll be subject to interpretation of an individual that probably isn't familiar with hunting, certainly isn't comfortable with the idea behind it, deems it too sensitive. So then the video could be put into a category where it's restricted to anyone over the age of 18. And the list goes truthfully on. And there isn't any consistencies, which is probably the most frustrating part of it. Some of the videos that are legitimately the exact same as a different video will have two different outcomes. Titles are another thing that are starting to get flagged. So having the word rifle or shoot or different stupid things like that, you wouldn't think makes any, sense of what the video is, will get flagged just based on the title. The thumbnail can get you flagged. So there's all these layers. We've been, relatively fortunate, but I think the fear we've all had for years, the concern is, will there become a time when we can't put up our videos on these certain platforms because somebody, isn't comfortable with the concept of it? And again, we're doing stuff that's totally legit. It's family friendly. We're not swearing. We're not using vulgar stuff. This is just legal means of hunting, going out and gathering your own food source and butchering your food. And I think everybody listening here would probably be on the same page, but you don't get offended by steaks getting cooked, but you get offended by the steaks getting, cut off where they came from. Kind of a deal. So it's a weird deal.
It's frustrating because YouTube has been such a cool platform for such a long time.
Yeah.
The idea of being able to consume entertainment for free, outside of your internet bill it's something, you know, fairly new when YouTube started years ago. And we've been able to create, you know, a really cool community through that platform. But unfortunately, like Brian just said, like the way it's being ran now is not benefiting what we're trying to do anymore. There's a lot of, you know, restraints, you know, we get put in handcuffs a lot of the times. And so I think we're almost to a point, you know, we're always going to continue to try and upload free content to YouTube. We're not going to stop until they stop us, but we're to a point where we get frustrated and we want to be able to just show, you know, what we do and not worry about being, you know, dinged for it.
I think the biggest thing is it's just limiting creativity, right? When YouTube very first started, they gave you this giant white canvas and said, this is a free means of you to be creative and post what you want. But it seems like with every update, every year we get closer, they're just making that canvas smaller and smaller and just trying to constrain more and more. And it's just frustrating because it's what we love to do and it's what you guys love to watch.
Yeah, I would say if anybody has been with the channel, especially for like years since when Casey did it by himself, you have probably noticed, if you've really paid attention, the difference in some of the videos and the way we edit and the lack of butchering, the cutting process and some of that. Like, well, we've literally had to purposely like not film as much of the butchering process, which those videos were crushing. Every time we made a specific video on how to quarter out an elk, how to remove the backstrap, like people want the content. But again, like BMAC said, like it could either get flagged, it can either get like, you can just tell they're restricted, like they're not reaching the audience that it should. You know, we've got 370,000 subscribers and you can tell when a video has just been like, it's not in the algorithm, it's not really getting pumped out there. But yeah, like people seem to want that content and we're just trying to figure out like where can we go? What can we do to get back to like the basics and upload content without all these restrictions?
Well, yeah, like you're saying, Eric, I used to tell to people all the time, like before YouTube, Google was kind of like the search engine, right? If you wanted to learn how to do something, you could Google it and you could go probably read an article about how to like, you know, change your spark plugs in your truck. Well, then YouTube came along and this is how I learned, like, instead of reading about how to do something, I'm much prefer to watch somebody do it. And that's kind of what our butchering videos were about. In those early days when we started doing those, we had a lot of people reaching out and being like, hey man, thanks for teaching me how to do the gutless method, or thanks for teaching me how to debone an elk shoulder or something like that. And that's kind of been taken away from us, which is not only frustrating for us, but probably frustrating for you guys at home.
Well, they're like evergreen videos too, because that kind of stuff, if you're not in a position where you're doing it every year consistently over and over and over, you lose it. You forget certain little details about, oh yeah, shoot, forgot this is what you need to do if you're gutting a deer or, you know, quartering an elk. And so those videos oftentimes early years will get viewed kind of annually just as a refresher. And I think, yeah, with the changes in the algorithms, it's impossible to like figure out. You lack the distribution that you used to have these days. It just doesn't get out there. And we see it all the time where, you know, our videos are pretty consistent the same way of, you know, how they're edited, how they're shot. I think nothing's really changed there. Just the distribution and the reach is varying. Some videos will crush and you'll be like, wow, that's kind of what we would expect to see of it. And then some are just, are the opposite of that. And we've talked to a ton of people. Everybody's dealing with the same frustrations. So is it because it's a hunting channel? Is it because it deals with shooting and animals? Like, I don't know, maybe not. But I think the question we're all asking ourselves is, would some kind of like a streaming or subscription based model, you know, we would want to make it obviously like super achievable, call it like, you know, $5-6 or something type of month. Would posting content through something like that, where you wouldn't have any more ads being served to you whatsoever, so no more disruptions of the ads, because that's another thing on YouTube, like it just automatically pops up ads and sometimes we forget to go in there and remove some of them, so it can just get very annoying with the type of ads that are being served. So no more ads, and then no more like censorship of the type of content we could put out there. We would really have a lot more control, to Logan's analogy, like a much bigger blank canvas to work with. So that's the $1 million question. Is
to that point too. I mean, not just that, you know, no ads and all that stuff. Like YouTube used to be really good with the algorithms and suggested videos. Like if you started on a hunting channel, you're probably going to be able to watch 20 or 30 hunting videos that are being suggested to you. Now it seems like you start watching a hunting video and then all this other stuff is starting to be they're trying to feed it to you that you might not want to consume. So if we did go to this maybe subscription based thing, I think you're not going to be getting fed this stuff you don't want to watch. And I think that's a big deal as well.
What's your thoughts, Matt? You're kind of been on the outside of the channel, you know, like you said, for most of your time here with Hush, and now you're part of Hush. Like, what have you seen from the outside and now from the inside that you've helped us out in the back end of YouTube?
Well, like, I'm a pretty hesitant person to just subscribe or pay for any monthly things. I just feel like I forget about it. Even if I don't use the service, I'm just paying. And my wife's been really good at that. Like, hey, no more subscriptions of 3 different car washes, you know, type of crap like that. So I would say, I'd want to say I'd be hesitant, but when you kind of look at it with like a more broad lens, you wouldn't have to pay, I guess, for like the outdoor channel on TV if more influencers or channels move to a subscription base where your one subscription paid for 4 or 5 of your favorite influencers or channels. And then I guess if it was something like a more tight-knit community where I'd be able to have more interaction with you guys versus 370,000 other people who are commenting on videos, maybe it's a much smaller group of people to where I'm able to feel like I'm connecting with you guys and having a direct impact on future videos or having my questions answered. And I feel like that would be worth my time and money, just for the pure fact that I'm able to reach out and communicate with you guys a lot easier, and I'm not going to get lost in the shuffle of 350,000 people.
Yeah. So let's say, you know, again, asking to the audience, whether you're hearing this or watching it on YouTube, if there's any way for you to get back to us through a comment section at all, please let us know. Would you guys be interested in a platform where you do pay a monthly fee or maybe an annual fee to watch our content, which would include ad-free content, so you're not getting all the pop-up ads, the pre-roll,
Non-skippable ads.
We would obviously have more ability to share, you know, anything we want. So that'd be the next perk. And then the platform could also give you guys exclusive content that you're not going to get on the free platforms. So just, you know, those are the first things I think of that may bring value to a subscription base. So if you guys can, like, let us know in a comment section or reach out at some point. Would you guys be interested in that? And, you know, give us the pros and cons. Let us know what you'd like to see if we did that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we're early on in this exploration process. We're just kind of, I mean, we're being realistic based off what we've seen over the course of a lot of years. And then more recently in the last year, how, you know, just how like the future just seems more uncertain on what we can share now more than ever. And I wouldn't be entirely shocked if at some point in the future, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, who knows, but we're really like restricted on the type of content we're able to share on these free platforms, be it the YouTube or the Facebooks or potentially even Instagrams, you know, who knows? We're at the mercy of the big tech companies based upon opting into their terms and conditions. Like we got to play by their rules. Some people don't like that. That's the reality. And so, you know, we're just trying to like consider all the different options that are out there. Mm-hmm. What would give us more control to be able to do and share the things that we are passionate about doing without like the hiccups of censorship and what have you.
Going back to what Logan said, like the creativity, like I would say Hush, from the outside looking in before I was even part of Hush, was always kind of driving the needle for an evolution in like the outdoor media. Like you guys would have different styles of day-by-day videos or different. You guys were different. And I feel like everybody is leveling out because we're all hitting this cap where we've all been having to conform to YouTube's algorithm or rules. So I feel like a consumer in outdoor media, I feel like everything is almost cookie cutter nowadays. It's getting more and more to that point to where it's getting a little bland for me as a consumer, to where a subscription based where we could have full creativity and have so much more freedom, you'd start to see that separation from one brand to another where everybody can have their own touch and way more room to grow and to do what they want. So I think it would benefit everybody as a whole.
That's a valid point, because I used to always say this, you know, the reason that kind of, I think the outdoor TV kind of went away is because that's exactly what they did to them. And we've always said, like, YouTube's such a great platform because we don't need the approval of anybody to try something. We can just try it. And if you guys at home like it, then we can run with it. Now we're getting so restricted on what we feel like we can do and show that it's almost feels like, you know, we have like somebody telling us, you know, that we can't do that certain thing anymore. And that's very frustrating for us. And like I said earlier, YouTube's been this great platform that we could be super creative on and try some different things out. But unfortunately, it's kind of going away from that. And, you know, I feel like, for me anyway, like I would love to continue to always put everything on YouTube for free. But, you know, it's coming to a point that it's looking like we're going to have to start looking into some other options. But like Eric said, like, let us know what your guys' thoughts are on all this.
Yeah, time will tell. We'll see what happens. But, you know, hopefully other platforms will emerge that offer creators a little bit more flexibility on what they put up. Because again, you know, the stuff we're doing may be tough for some folks to swallow and understand, but it's you know, hunting's been around for ages. It's completely legal. Like there's no reason it should be censored in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot of other, you know, much more distasteful things out there that you can find that somehow seem to make it without any kind of, you know, censorship, which is kind of, you know, weird to me, but it is what it is.
Let's talk about what content we have coming up.
Let's do it.
So
Eric, do you want to kick us off, dude? With
just real quick, if you're watching this, we just uploaded a new Hushlife vlog. It's a pretty cool vlog because it's, like Eric was saying earlier, 3 very different perspectives. Eric's in Hawaii, Brian's in Oregon fishing, and I was in Wyoming on a bear hunt. So that vlog is now live. First video we've uploaded in a couple weeks. So go check that out if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do real quick too, like maybe a little more consistent vlog type stuff. We did a lot years ago, got away from it to a degree, but I think that might be something that we'll keep doing. Just a little bit more of an intimate connection to the audience doing the vlog stuff. I think show some different things outside of like our main content of hunting, fishing, shed hunting, you name it. But yeah, we've had some fun couple weeks. Probably we're gonna like rank them who had the most fun. Matt and Eric, your trip did not look terrible.
Yeah.
Were you on a golf course?
It looked like, man, sometimes looks like New Zealand up there. And what they're talking about is my Axis deer hunting trip I took to Hawaii. Super lucky to have met my buddy Nick through social media, which, man, you know, like we always have mentioned, we've made some of our best friends and connections through social media just because, you know, he's such a tight hunting community. So he invited me out to hunt Axis deer. He's got some private property out there, which is probably the toughest or the hardest thing about like hunting in Hawaii is access to land. And luckily Nick and his family have owned a ranch out there, a cattle farming ranch, and he invited me out to hunt Axis deer. And he really wanted to come out and look for elk sheds. Unfortunately, he just got so busy he's building a house out there. So he never did come out to hunt elk sheds with me, but we took Matt. So Matt and I went to Hawaii and did a Monday to Monday, like a straight week of hunting Axis deer, feral goats, or AKA Spanish goats. We did try to hunt some hogs, but we never did find a really big boar. But we got to experience a lot of action in 6 days. And I was able to take an axis deer with a rifle, one with my bow, and then one of those Spanish goats. And, before the trip went, I didn't promise like Matt anything, obviously, because it's not my land and whatnot. So once we got there, Nick did let him know, like, yeah, we'll try to get you an axis deer and a goat too. So Matt also had the chance to get one of each too. So super fun trip. The video footage is amazing. And I think one thing that really can make like a video that much cooler is scenery. And with a lot of our areas, we're pretty tight on backgrounds, and we hunt public land here in the West, and we're pretty, trying to keep it on the DL if we can. And so it like loses that ability to show scenes and like give you a perspective of like how big the country is or what it really looks like. But with Hawaii and obviously being on private land, we had that ability to show some of that stuff, and it just makes the video like that much cooler. So
Matt, Hawaii, not a bad work trip.
Not a bad work trip. What blows my mind is I actually lived in Maui for 6 months and before this, and I hadn't been back since this work trip. And I knew there was like some goats on the island, some axis deer, and going back and legitimately seeing high fence areas for plants and trees to survive, because the number of like invasive goats and deer is like just mind-boggling. They have literally eroded the whole mountain to where native trees and plants cannot survive without the help of humans building huge enclosures around them. So that was definitely an eye-opener for me. I've never really, like, I've seen areas like in the Western US where they'll let like sheep go, like mutton sheep go through the ranges and stuff, and you can really see, we call it burning. The sheep will burn the hillsides, and it goes from like tall green grass down to dust. And I've seen that, but I've never seen it to the point where literally the trees are dead, the ground is eroding and being washed into the ocean, which is killing coral reefs, killing fish, which killing smaller fish affects the whole food chain. So something as simple as a deer or a goat just changed the whole ecosystem in a blink of an eye. And there's no natural predators out there, no winter kills. So these deer and goats are thriving. Like it's unbelievable how many animals are on the island. And you would never know it if you're hanging out in the touristy spots or just living down in the city, what is going on up there in the mountain. It's crazy.
So
It's wild.
With regards to the goats and the deer, do you just need like a hunting license in Hawaii? And then is there a bag limit, or is it similar to Texas where as long as you have a legal license, you can get as many as you want?
It's like Texas. So again, like Matt said, those animals, so pigs, goats, axis deer, and even wild moo cows, this is no joke, like, are all invasive species. So all you need to do to hunt them is get your out of state or your hunting license. And then after that, it's no bag limit, no hunting season, no weapon of choice. Obviously there's like shooting hours, daylight, stuff like that you have to follow. But yeah, it's really just no bag limits because they're just not managed. They're not managed as a native species. Again, the hardest part is either finding a small piece of public, which almost doesn't exist, at least on that island, or getting access onto private. But yeah, like no joke, when we went around the backside, they call it, the amount of goats was, I mean, you're just like, you could spin a 360 and you're going to see a goat the whole time.
Matt, you were telling me some numbers when you were up here last week. You remember those?
Yes. So Nick had us watch this documentary, and it said currently there's like estimated 55,000 axis deer on that island alone. And if they don't have a drastic change or crazy conservation efforts to try and just kill these deer, that it's estimated in 10 years there'll be upwards of 200,000 deer on the island. That's how well they're doing.
Jeez.
So what is that, Brian? 400%?
Here we go.
Ask Logan. He'll tell you.
1,000.
What's your number? You're starting. What's your number? 60? Yeah, it's 372.4%.
All right.
We had this crazy conversation. Like, dude, what if mule deer ended up on the island? Like, no predators, no winter kill, and like
really good genetics.
Good genetics and like great habitat and feed. I mean, once you're out of like the lowland and the ocean level and you go into the mountains of the island, it's one side of the island's like a rainforest jungle, like legit. I mean, it gets all the storms from the north, and the backside can kind of be like a desert down low. But yeah, what if like mule deer ended up out there? That I could just imagine there's some like
giants.
It'd be like Antelope Island in paradise.
On steroids. Like the amount of moisture and nutrients this side of the mountain we were on gets like rain nearly every day. The green grass just is coming up every day of the year, basically. And it's just like unlimited.
It looks like elk would thrive really well on that island.
Dude, like Roosevelt elk, especially.
Yeah, no kidding. Live in the jungles. But yeah, that's the first trip that we did. Matt and I did that together, and I'm glad I brought Matt because we got drone footage, we got all the third camera like perspective. So it's going to make a great series, which I think if this goes up next week, I would assume that at least day one is up on our channel. If you guys get a chance to go check that out.
And we were planning on doing like a new series that would have Texas and Hawaii. We had to pull the plug on Texas. If you guys recall, had a pretty significant storm there, and they had like a multi-day hard freeze. Well, a lot of the axis deer were in velvet at the time, and it killed a handful for sure, probably more than a handful of axis deer, although they survived much more so than some of the exotics down in Texas. But we're going to head back down there with our buddy Landon. It's all low fence, free range axis in Texas. Super fun time. We've done it before, but it wasn't great based upon that freeze. A lot of the animals have broken off. And so he kind of was just of the thought to kind of pull the plug on it, wait till next year. So that's kind of a disappointment, but next year should be pretty incredible. They're a hardy species, and it's crazy their popularity, not only in Texas, but in Hawaii. I'd say Texas probably offers a little bit easier opportunities to find private land to be able to go do the hunts. But man, when we started hunting axis years ago, they're almost like an annoyance. And I think now landowners see the value in what they could offer from a financial standpoint. And I think hunters really have identified in them being a pretty enjoyable species to chase. And the meat is incredible. Absolutely, unequivocally, probably the best we've ever had of any game species, certainly right up in the top one or two. So that is a huge desire too, is getting down there and just collecting meat, whether it's from Hawaii or from Texas. But that is a series I'm super excited to watch. So looking forward to seeing that coming up on a completely 180-degree different spectrum. Casey Butler,
I wasn't in Hawaii.
We're not in Hawaii.
Yeah. So I got invited over to go on a bear hunt with Luke from Weatherby. We actually tried to do this hunt last year. They invited me and Logan to come over, and it's through a good buddy of ours, Ben Rogers. He owns Stone Mountain Outfitters over there in close to Sheridan, Wyoming. And we tried to do it last year, and we didn't go the opening weekend because whatever reason. So we showed up probably like day 3, and the plan was to horseback into his camp, which is like 5 miles from the trailhead. But last year, unfortunately, it's all a quota system over there. So I believe it's 8 sows is the quota. As soon as 8 sows gets filled and checked in, then they shut down the season. And that last year happened like day 2 of the hunt. So unfortunately, we weren't able to experience that hunt last year. So this year we're like, let's go in opening day or the day before opening day. So we'll guarantee us at least a few days of hunting. And so that's what we did. We went in, like I said, Luke from Weatherby, David Draper from Peterson Hunting Magazine, my good buddy Benny O'Brien from the Meat Eater. All 3 of us went in with Ben Rogers, and we hunted black bears for a week. So it was super good time. Benny shot a really nice bear. We shot, I think, 3 bears in camp. But it was really cool because you got to do both of techniques. We sat on baits for a few days. We got to go spot and stock for a few days. Absolutely gorgeous country. Had a good time. And I kind of shot that. I was the sole cameraman on this hunt. So hopefully Logan, how did I do?
Decent. You did really good. You definitely filled up cards. I've already started cutting in. I already started cutting into the video, and there's some cool stuff. Some really cool stuff.
Here's another question for you. We've been doing these series for quite a while now, like how we showcase best season yet. It's always a day-to-day series. And we've kind of gotten away. We used to, when we started doing this, working together, is we'd film a whole hunt, maybe a 7-day hunt, and we'd compile all that footage into one video. And so I kind of wanted to go back to that a little bit. So the way I shot this is Logan's going to cut it all into one video. So it'll be 7 days of bear hunting in that video. But let us know what you guys like. I know some people like the series and some people like maybe a more polished edit. But let us know at home what you guys want to see us do more of. If it's the series or, just one cut video. I think there's room for both for sure.
Yeah. So you're talking you're like horseback, wall tent.
Horseback. Yeah. Ben spends a lot of time in the spring, man, getting this really nice camp back into there. I think he said he was like 12 trips into there with like 5 pack horses. So you show up, there's a cook tent, 2 wall tents to sleep in, food for 7 days. You're eating like kings. Super good time. Bear hunting's pretty relaxed. You don't get too serious about it until like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So a lot of camp time, real fun hanging out with guys. And then either we hiked out of camp a couple days to go sit on baits. We rode horses a couple days way back in there. So we got the best of all of it for sure.
Yeah, Ben is that guy is a legit cowboy.
Yep, he scares me at times. Things he makes me do, I don't want to do on his horses. No, his horse, he has the top-notch horses, man. If you guys have been watching the channel, like we've done some horseback hunts, especially me and Logan the last couple of years. I get a little timid around him, get a little scared. Matt, we did one with Ben last year where we went into the backcountry and hunted whitetail. And I'm always a little nervous around horses, but you just got to get to a point where you just got to have to trust them, because that's the whole thing. They know what they're doing. And usually they don't have a problem. It's usually the guy on the back of them that has the problem.
That's a bucket list thing for me. I've never done a horseback trip. Never even been on a horse.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've been on as a kid, riding the beach at Cannon Beach in Oregon on a horse, or I think when I was in Costa Rica, did some horsebacking a little bit, but really low experience on a horse. Yeah. I want to get out and do that legit horseback style hunt. I think it would be super fun. Regardless how the hunting is, just the experience of, being on a horse and then commuting that way would be super
that's
cool.
The whole thing about it. It's it's an experience for sure. And it opens up to a lot what you can do. Like we did a hunt with my neighbor a couple of years ago where we drew tags in Nevada and we horsebacked in, 6-7 miles, set up a camp. And we took a cooler in with us with ice, and we were literally eating steaks on day 4.
I feel like horses are a lot like boats. You don't really want to own them, but it'd be kind of nice to know guys that have them.
You want to have friends that have them, yeah.
Because the other horror stories of the horse world is just the amount of attention and time and care they need. Seem very high maintenance.
Well, that's the whole thing with it. If you want to have a good horse that you can trust, you got to spend a lot of time with it. I always say it's like having a really good bird dog. If you want to have a really good bird dog, you have to spend a lot of time with that dog. Same with a horse, man. You can't just throw them out into the pasture all summer long and expect to go jump on them in the fall and they're going to be, top notch. You got to spend a lot of time in the saddle with them. So
another series that will be super cool.
You guys,
series.
You guys don't even talk about mules, dude. All horses. What about the guys on here that like mules?
It's such a crazy topic because you talk to some people and they're all about mules, and then the other guys are they don't want anything to do with mules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so lead to the next bunch of content, which we're still not sure if we're going to sit on it or share it soon, but I'm dropping it on our Instagram stories. Is I did a backcountry shed antler hunt with my buddy Isaiah. He's Primetime Outdoors on Instagram. He's got a guiding service. His buddy Riker Graham and Riker's dad, Joseph Graham, took us in on mules for a week, 5 days shed hunting. And dude, without the mules, what we did was impossible.
Yeah.
So I think I've got probably enough content for 4 days of videos, which will kind of be that day-to-day series, just because like literally each day is so packed full of sheds. But that was the trip after Hawaii. I came home, I think I had 2 days, which is like enough to unpack, like do your laundry, repack. And I went out there with those guys and had a blast, man. But Riker's dad is like a mule guy. Like, you know how you said when you're around them, you can just, I mean, they're just like, that's their thing. This guy probably packs out, I mean, well over 50, sometimes 50 to 75, maybe even up to 100 animals a year with his mules.
Wow.
Just like you said, they're trained, they know what they're doing. And I mean, we hauled out like 350 pounds of elk antlers on his mules. And dude, it was like BMAC said, a dream hunt. I've always, as I've shed hunted, wanted to do a trip, whether it's horses or mules, where you go in we walked in, you know, the mules carried all our gear, but we walked in with mules, dropped us for 5 days, and then came back and picked us out. But that's been a dream shed hunt of mine. And this one like lived up to every expectation I had, other than just like how physically demanding it was to get to the elk antlers. Like miles and miles and miles on the trail, miles and miles bushwhacking, but we had a great time. So that's some content that I'm thinking of holding out until next year. I think shed hunting content at this point, on top of like summer just being our slow season on views, and like people are just busy, you know, it's nice weather, so everyone's like out more. I might hold those shed tour series until like next year when everyone's like getting super excited, like February.
Yeah, man. Nobody cares about shed hunting right now, dude. It's time to fish. Hello.
I did a
Summertime, Eric.
Dude, I did a poll. I'm sure you saw it. Like 75% of people are like, drop it now. One guy's like, you cannot show us 2 mules full of elk sheds and not share it. Like, you're
cliffhanger. That's why it's called a cliffhanger. That's why it's called a cliffhanger.
So that's what I've been up to. Now I'm home and, you know, catching up with podcasts and the hunt winner, the elk hunt giveaway winner. But yeah, I'm home now. And now that Texas is canceled, I have no plans.
It's time to start shooting bows, boys.
True.
Shooting bows, dropping trail cameras.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be cool to do a breakdown of everybody's bow setup for the year and arrow broadhead choice. I think that'd be a cool little video.
Still blows my mind how well, like anything we've done with archery in general is done really well, but anything that's on the technical side, whether we're just explaining our setups or building a bow with the team at Wild Arrow, like, dude, they always do so well. And
it's that educational aspect of it, man. People want to learn, people want to know, and those guys are like top notch at doing it.
Yeah, it's been fun to see like the guys at Wild Arrow, like ever since we started doing those bow builds, like how they're even bringing in out-of-state customers now for what they call the Wild Arrow Experience and setting up their bows in person. So that's probably next on the list. I've got my new bow that needs to get set up, and unfortunately with manufacturing issues like everything else, left-handed components, I guess, have been a little bit hard to get. Like that's why my bows took longer to get. So I need to build my bow. We're going to shoot bows. We're going to do some fishing videos, I'm sure, some scouting and trail cam videos coming up. Yeah.
Summer season. It's full effect, man. The big bugs are making their way through the west on the rivers, which if you guys, anybody is into fly fishing for trout, I can't think of a more enjoyable way to catch them than throwing a big golden stone or salmon fly. That is a lot of activity. What's that?
Got Jake's lures.
I do.
Dude.
You know Logie does.
I got them all, bro.
I think we got some fishing stuff planned for later this summer for sure. And before you know, guys, fall will indeed be here. Yeah, we're working on some fall plans. We got some tags coming in. We gave you a little teaser. Lucky old Logan drawing a pretty sweet tag. We're kind of finalizing some additional plans and what we're going to do, how we're going to roll it out, where we're going to go. But there's no doubt it is shaping up to be a good season. Certainly very excited to share a camp with Adam and his father, the grand prize winner of the ultimate New Mexico Elk Hunt Experience. And I just got to say quickly, the amount of positive support and feedback on that video has just been really refreshing to see. I know Adam feels it. He's feeling the love as a winner. And it was awesome just to see the reaction. So many folks were excited to see, the winner announced, and his authentic, humble response has been super cool. So we've seen the comments, the feedback as far as like what type of giveaways would you all be interested in continuing to see. I think it goes without saying that we'll continue to work on kind of the no purchase necessary gear type stuff, whether that's bows, rifles, arrows, mountain ops packages, you name it. Lots of cool stuff there. We'll keep sprinkling those out throughout the year, and then kind of have those bigger, heavy hitter packages that we can also do. I'd like to do maybe 1 or 2 tops a year of that. I certainly think the elk hunt experience, or any kind of a hunt experience, leads the charge from at least the comments that I've read. And then maybe we'll figure out a few other kind of cool ones. The Can-Am was pretty sweet too. So we'll see how the year plans out. We're going to keep looking for ideas, and no doubt open to hearing more of them that you guys might have.
Yeah, we asked you when we did the giveaway video what you guys wanted to see, and it was overwhelming how many of you guys wanted us to do hunt giveaways. So definitely something I think will continue.
Yeah, got some ideas. Just got to work through some logistics, but we'll be working on it, no doubt about it. Closing thoughts?
I just want to say thanks to everybody that entered. It was awesome, and couldn't ask for a better guy to hunt with. Super appreciative guy. Excited, Adam.
Yep, excited for that. Just summertime is here, man. I enjoy every time of year, but just encourage anyone listening to get out more, go on a camp, go on a quick overnighter, sleep in the back of your pickup truck, go fishing, go shoot your bow. Like, warm weather's here. We've waited for it. We've been cooped up for too long. Like, let's go enjoy the summer and make the best of it.
Matty Ice?
I'm just dreading some hikes to go get some trail cams that have been up year round. There's some that are in there pretty deep, but I'm too anxious to wait any longer. So that's where I'm going to be the next day or two, is about 5 or 6 miles deep, pulling some SD carts. But yeah, guys, I'm excited for this summer, and Adam, can't wait to meet you, man, and become a friend, hopefully, no doubt.
Yeah, closing thoughts for me. I just appreciate your guys' support over the years. Like Eric was saying earlier, it's just so cool when we do one of these giveaways, how grateful everyone's been and how appreciative everyone is. So we appreciate your guys' support. If it's, whatever platform, if it's YouTube, it's something we're not trying to get away from, but we just want to make the experience for you guys better. So we're trying to wade through that and figure it all out as we go. But thank you guys for sticking around and supporting us over all these years.
Indeed. That is all we have on this episode of the Hushlife Podcast. We got some ideas for some new stuff. Maybe some hunt stories would be kind of cool to share in the podcast realm. We got certainly a lot of them, and I think it'd be fun to go into some details there. And maybe a few other special guests in some upcoming episodes. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. And again, thanks for all the support. We will be around. See you on the next episode.